for systemic waste. And one of the biggest issues with that is in regards to our federal friends and the federal money that he just touched on. If you are familiar with Interstate 35 just north of Ankeny, there are two, well, there's one brand new rest area going in on both sides of the road, okay? Bad enough that they're even there, but they're very fancy, very nice. I refer to them as a Taj Mahal of the rest areas, okay? I don't know how much they cost exactly, but I've heard estimates, 8 million plus, whatever, okay? And I've had nobody has been able to explain to me why they exist other than they were a condition of using federal highway money for the interchange at the north edge of Ankeny. So if you all recall, if you've been down 35, there was a rest area right where that new interchange went in. And so obviously, as a condition, they said, well, just move it north of town. So they did. They had to buy up Class 1 farm ground, had to put in a bunch of concrete, had to put in those big fancy rest areas that nobody can justify other than the fact that it was a condition of using federal highway funds. Okay, that's waste, and that's so bad I can't hardly express to you my frustration on waste like that, okay? But I want to give you another example. Just at the east edge of Ames, there are 12 decorative lights on Highway 30, and they're just west of the 35-30 interchange, okay? 12 decorative lights, yeah. And I got to tell you the history on those things. They were paid for with what they call MAP 21 funds. Now those are highway beautification dollars, okay? Those 12 lights cost roughly $1.2 million if my memory serves, okay? And of that 1.2 million, 300 and some odd thousand of it came from those MAP 21 federal money. So that means the federal taxes that you all paid in this room goes into a formula that goes out to Washington, D.C., gets scattered around, and comes back to us. Okay, well, we get $300 million in federal money returned to us. Okay, this proposed gas tax increase is going to raise $200 million. So the reason I'm trying to get the perspective here on the amount of money that the feds are actually sending back to us. Okay, now it's our money. We sent it to them. Granted, we paid it. Okay. But when we paid it, it went out there, got a bunch of strings hooked onto it, and came back. One of them was that stupid rest area. Okay? The second one are these stupid lights. And you're going to hear me use the word stupid because I don't have any other better explanation. Well, I do have some other words, but I can't use it in mixed company. Okay? Not only are they a waste, but I would promise you they would not even have existed had it not been for that $300,000 incentive, if you will, that came from the federal government through our taxes. Now, the real kicker on this is not only are they of no practical value whatsoever, they are purely aesthetic. Okay? They're like little neon things that stick up at night. They're not even bright enough to lighten up the highway. All right? So there's no safety with these things whatsoever. In addition, I want to go one other notch. If you and I as business owners wanted to advertise our business and put a sign there, okay, and pay the highway department some money to put a sign up there, we can't. It's too close to the right of way, okay? But these stupid lights go in there, and they are pillars. They are concrete pillars right next to the right of way. If you drive down in the ditch, you'll run into them and smash yourself. They are concrete pillars that are not that all fired far from the right of way of the roads, okay? So I'm going to submit to you there's even an element of danger with those goofy lights. Stupid, if you will, okay? Now I want to go one notch farther yet. The Iowa Department of Transportation is contemplating a high-speed interchange where Highway 30 and 35 meet. So guess what? What do you think will happen if they put that interchange in? Out go the lights. So not only did we blow the money putting them in, we're going to have to blow money to tear them back out if they go ahead with that interchange. Now I'm not saying they will, and maybe if they're going to prioritize now and do Highway 20 instead of that interchange, hey, maybe that won't happen. But regardless, the concept is this is insane. Nobody can justify those lights to me. There's no way. When we're talking serious roads and bridges here in this state that need infrastructure repair, are you kidding me? This is crazy. So now, what I'm going to ask everybody in the room to do, I've been asking people in my newsletter, I was on the radio, whenever I can talk to people, I want to explain to them how stupid this is and what we can do about it. For years, the federal highway funding formula has not even come up for debate in the federal Senate, okay? This year, they're actually talking about debating the bill, right? So that means if we would contact all 4 congressmen and both of our senators, and I'm going to recommend you contact all 4 of our state representatives or our federal representatives, even though they're not from this district, okay? So new Representative Young down in southwest Iowa, and Loebsack over in southeastern Iowa, and Blum up in northeastern Iowa, and Congressman King, of course. If we would, and then now new Senator Ernst and current Senator Grassley, and ask them, please let Iowa help itself and either block grant that money back to our DOT, or at the very minimum, if you can't bring yourself to block grant it back, if you don't really trust the states enough to actually let us use our own money, which I'm being right up front with you, I think that's kind of pie in the sky to expect them to block grant it. But nevertheless, let's start at the top. Let's ask for a block grant. Please block grant that money back to the Iowa DOT so we can spend it the way we need to. Or at the very minimum, let us apply for a waiver. Let us get a project like that one at the north edge of Ankeny and tell them, hey, we don't need Taj Mahal rest areas. We'd rather do roads and bridges and take that same whatever millions it cost, and I think it was around 8. If you hear me say 8, if it turns out to be 7 or 9, whatever, don't shoot me. But the point is, whatever that money is, let us use it for what we need to use it for, not some prescriptive, arbitrary formula that somebody in Washington came up with that has nothing to do with what we really need. There's $300 million at stake here. And I'm going to submit to you that if we don't do that, if we don't get systemic changes, and if we don't get some savings in there, this proposed gas, well, not proposed anymore, this gas tax increase is not going to solve the problem. And in several years, we'll be back asking for more again, because we're not utilizing the funds. And they're even contemplating at the federal level raising the tax.